History is filled with tales of courage, but few are as incredible as the story of Adrien Carton de Wyaart. Born in Brussels in 1882, a Belgian nobleman, his life reads like an action novel. He was a man who seemed to court danger, a soldier who stared death in the face and laughed. His story isn't just about battles. It's about an unyielding spirit that simply refused to be broken. From a young age, Adrien was destined for a life less ordinary. He was sent to boarding school in England and then to Oxford, but the quiet life of academia wasn't for him. When the Second Boer War broke out in 1899, he saw his chance for adventure. He was only 20, underage, and not even a British subject. Did that stop him? Not a chance. He dropped out of college, assumed a false identity, and enlisted in the British Army, claiming to be 25. His first taste of war in South Africa was a harsh one. He was shot in the stomach and groin and sent back to England to recover. For most people, that would be a clear sign to find a new career. But for Adrien, it was just the beginning. Once healed, he got a commission in the 4th Dragoon Guards and served in India before finally becoming a naturalized British citizen in 1907. He thought his fighting days might be over, but history had other plans. When World War I erupted in 1914, Adrien was immediately on the move. He was sent to British Somaliland to command the Somaliland Camel Corps, fighting against the forces of the Mad Mullah. It was here that his legend truly began to take shape. During an attack on an enemy fort, he was shot twice in the face, losing his left eye and part of his ear. When doctors told him they couldn't save the eye, he reportedly tore it out himself. He was awarded the Distinguished Service Order for his gallantry. Most commanders would be sent home after such a grievous injury, but Adrien simply put on a black eye patch, which would become his trademark, and demanded to be sent to the Western Front in Europe. He arrived in France in 1915, ready for more. He would command 3 infantry battalions and a brigade, always leading from the very front. His men adored him for his bravery, even if they thought he was a little crazy. The trenches of the Western Front were a brutal meat grinder, but Adrien seemed almost invincible. During the Battle of the Somme, his hand was shattered by machine gun fire. Doctor refused to amputate his fingers, so Adrien, in a moment of sheer grit and frustration, pulled them off himself. Later, his entire left hand had to be amputated. He taught himself to shoot and fish with one hand and simply carried on. Throughout the war, he was wounded a total of 8 times. He was shot in the skull, ankle, hip, leg, and ear. He survived multiple plane crashes. He once described the war by saying, "Frankly, I had enjoyed the war." This wasn't because he loved violence, because he thrived on the challenge and the camaraderie. For his incredible bravery at the Battle of Passchendaele, he was awarded the Victoria Cross, the highest military honor in the British Armed Forces. He had crawled through mud and shellfire to rally scattered groups of men and turn a potentially disastrous situation into a successful attack. When World War I ended, you'd think he would finally retire. But again, you'd be wrong. He was sent on a military mission to the newly independent Poland, acting as a liaison during the Polish-Soviet War. His time there was just as chaotic. His train was attacked by Cossacks, and he fought them off with his revolver from the footplate of the engine. He survived another plane crash. He even briefly became a Polish commander before finally returning to a quieter life in the Polish marshes, where he spent his days hunting and shooting. But peace was never going to last for a man like Adrien. When World War II broke out in 1939, he was recalled to service at the age of 60. He was placed in charge of a military campaign in Norway. The mission was fated from the start, but Adrien led with his usual courage. His plane had to crash land in a ford, and he and his staff had to swim to shore in the freezing water. After the Norway campaign, he was sent to lead a military mission in Yugoslavia. But his plane was shot down over the Mediterranean Sea. He and the crew again survived the crash. He was knocked unconscious but was pulled from the wreckage by his staff. They were all captured and became prisoners of war in Italy. Even as a prisoner, Adrien was relentless. He was now in his 60s, missing an eye and a hand, but he made 5 escape attempts, spent 7 months digging a tunnel with other senior officers. On one occasion, he escaped and managed to evade capture for 8 days. Despite not speaking Italian and having a very distinctive appearance with his eye patch and missing hand, he was eventually recaptured, but his spirit remained unbroken. Then, in a bizarre twist of fate, the Italians needed him. In 1943, Italy was secretly planning to surrender to the Allies. The Italian government released Adrian from the prison camp and sent him to Lisbon to help negotiate the terms. It's an incredible image, a one-eyed, one-handed British general, released from an Italian prison camp, now acting as their envoy. His service wasn't over yet. After returning to Britain, Winston Churchill, a longtime admirer, decided to send him to China as his personal representative to Chiang Kai-shek. On the way there, the plane he was on lost an engine and had to make an emergency landing in India. When he finally arrived in China, he tripped and fell down some stairs, breaking several vertebrae. He simply spent some time in the hospital and got back to work. He remained in the Far East until the war ended, and finally retired from the army in 1947 at the age of 67. Adrian Carton de Wild's life was a testament to the power of human resilience. He was wounded in almost every conceivable way, survived multiple crashes, and was a prisoner of war, yet he never lost his courage or his dark sense of humor. He lived a life that most of us can only read about in adventure novels. He passed away peacefully in 1963 at the age of 83. His story serves as a powerful reminder that with enough determination, the human spirit can endure almost anything. Thank you for watching. If you found this story as incredible as I did, please give this video a like, and don't forget to subscribe for more amazing stories from history. See you next time.